Hi everyone. Jai Mohanji. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mohanji.
It'll be nice to see everyone. Hi Elva. Hi Michael. Hi Shital. Hi Tejas. All who I'm Sundari ji. Thank you for joining. You're joining from India? Okay. Um, I'm sure people will join soon. I'm just going on YouTube also. We'll go live and also let's record. So, how are you? Are you excited about this session? Do you know what we are going to do?
I thought it was. I thought it was yoga.
Yoga. Yes, it is yoga. Union. Union, the oneness with our consciousness through Mohanji's consciousness. Okay. So just to give you all a little background, in our spiritual journey, it's there are many ways that people progress in their journey, right? One of the easiest way but yet proven way is through the strong connection with a master. And if we are lucky or fortunate enough to have a living master in our life, to strengthen that connection is very helpful for our own journey, not to the master doesn't care, but for our own journey it's great. It's like you are doing a self study or you are being guided by professors, experts. So in a way that we have seen in our tradition, there are stories or experiences of people which let others travel even better. So for that matter, even Bhagavad Gita or any of those Puranas or the Vedic scriptures that you take, Bhagavatam, these are all stories of divinity that opens our eyes or makes us understand the divinity in a better way. So this has been going on for centuries. Leela, we call it, of course, Krishna Leelas or stories or Satcharitas. One of the, in the latest, in the current times, Sai Baba Satcharitra, Sai Satcharitra is one of such scripture, we can say, that takes thousands and millions of people so advanced in their spiritual journey just by narrating the purity of the divinity that people experienced. So ultimately, more than theory, more than preaching, more than book knowledge, what helps is the true experiences of people, which when narrated in a pure way, with proper bhav, with feelings, with truth, with sincerity, that can touch others. And then you don't know, some one experience of someone could touch somebody else in any part of the world. So with this, this is why we give experience sharing a very important aspect in our spiritual journey. Experience sharing is not about feeling proud that, look, I have this experience. It's not about that. It's, first of all, it brings gratitude in yourself, that you are able to recognize the grace that happened, that experience, the grace through that experience. Second is you feel humble and grateful and express your gratitude by sharing this with others with sincerity and truth. And third thing is, other people may, who may be confused, who may have not known, they may be able to experience this through your experience as well, and that can clear many doubts, that can open up their eyes, that can help in progress, so on and so forth. So this is why we, in a lot of Mohanji followers, when they have experiences with Mohanji, they all share. We encourage people to share their experiences. And what we have done since long time, that whenever people share that experience, we publish that in a online on a WordPress blog. um, I have been personally involved in this testimonials since 2017. That's when I also published. I wrote my first experience with Mohanji in 2016 when I attended the retreat in London. So that's when I wrote my first experience. And from there, 2017 onwards, I started getting involved with the testimonials team. When I joined the testimonial team, I saw there were already about 400 plus testimonials, experiences that were there in the WordPress blog. And so when I started going back and started reading some of those experiences, some of the people are not there with Mohanji anymore, but those experiences are very powerful. So I understood slowly, the power of testimonial or experience sharing. There is a story why I'm narrating this, that I'm taking you slowly to what is Guru Leela that we are talking about and the evolution of Guru Leela that had happened. So once I got involved into the testimonials team, then we formed our a new team. So that's when Shama, who is not here in the call today, but many of you know Shama from our UK team, and Rekhaji from India, we formed a team together to collect testimonials, to edit the stories, and to publish these blogs. And since then, I mean, we are together, for the 7 years. I would say certainly for myself, and Rekhaji also can share, that testimonials, just being part of, not just writing my own experience, but just being part of, involved in other people's experience, reading them, publishing them, that has made my growth exponentially high. I mean, it may sound unreal, but it's true. When I write or when I read and when I share, it makes me two steps ahead because it purifies me. Understanding the grace, it opens my eyes to see the unseen behind. So obviously, through the time, as we kept on publishing testimonials every week, or sometimes more, we thought of the idea of doing Mohanji Satcharitra. This came to us in 2018 when it was Shirdi Sai Baba's 100th year of Mahasamadhi. So that's when we actually started, as Baba's blessings, we started Mohanji Satcharitra series. It is still there on the website. You'll find we did 9 such chapters, and each chapter had 9 stories of different aspects of Mohanji. We will get to that one time. But by the end of that year, maybe around November time, November, December, we thought that by the time there was about 550 stories in our WordPress blog. So we then discussed that, okay, we are writing online. This is people are reading, but why don't we bring out a book? The idea was to that when we have a book with the stories, it will not just have the stories to read, but also it will bring that grace and the energy of Mohanji in like a tablet form. So when you hold this book, you will actually feel the presence of Mohanji's energy. That was what our all 3 of us felt unanimously that. And so we reached out to Mohanji for his permission to allow us to go for a book, which he did. So I will talk, and that is how the Guru Leela book started. The first Guru Leela book happened in 2019, January. So January 21st is when this book reached Mohanji's hands. And of course, we launched it formally in Mohanji's birthday that year. But January 2019 is the first Guru Leela book published. Since then, now in the 7 years, we have 7 Guru Leelas. So what we thought of this session, that many people do read, but we wanted to give our gratitude to Mohanji by getting people every week. We'll meet maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and we'll read a story, the true story from Guru Leela book. And when Guru Leela book is completed, then we'll go to the blogs, other blogs, Satcharitra. And in the meantime, when we read the story, we are also opening the forum for people to share their experience if you have doubt, and we continue. So we continue this stories of grace, of divinity, of the consciousness, miracles, whatever healing, protection, so many aspects, so many dimensions of Mohanji that we have experienced. And this is global. So people from every country have written this. So with that, we are starting today. And I have taken Mohanji's permission that we will do this every week. So let's make it happen. Let's make it a truth that we continue this Guru Leela reading story day on and day out. And it doesn't have to be just me reading or Rekhaji reading. We invite all of you to come up, read, and share and discuss. So we want this as a close knit family or group. All are invited to read. Okay. So thank you for all of you who have joined today. I know we have many more followers of Mohanji, but maybe this time suits or not, I don't know. But this is the reason why we are going live on the Mohanji and I YouTube channel. So anybody who has missed it, the Zoom session, live session can see it later on YouTube. And please share this word with your friends, with your teams, people that you know around. That we meet every Sunday this time. So same day, same time, we'll meet. Okay. How do you feel? Anyone would like to say, how do you feel about this, doing this session?
Super excited. I'm thrilled. Looking forward to hearing stories about Mohanji.
Wonderful. It's definitely worth that 1 hour.
I just want to add, as we read the stories, there might be experiences in your life which you will instantly be able to connect to, because sometimes reading such stories helps us to connect and also identify, oh, yes, I have gone through that and that has been my blessing or grace from the Guru. Those kind of things can come up. Those kind of, for me, it's always like a flashlight coming up. So each time, whenever there is a testimonial, this is how I felt. So it will definitely help. And let's keep this going. And please, all of you, come forward with your sharing and with your experiences. And let's make this a great evolution for us, the spiritual evolution for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rekhaji. Thank you. Okay, so today we will begin with the book Guru Leelas 7. Can you see this? So this is our latest book, which we launched. This was released on Mohanji's birthday this year, 23rd February. So what we were thinking about, how do we, and please, I welcome all your suggestions also. How do we do this? What we thought that we will read today for the editorial preface about this book. So what is this book about? And then we'll read one story today from the book. Okay. So see if this goes well. And by reading this story doesn't mean that you should not buy the book. You should buy the book because the book also has lovely pictures, and like I just said, this book, just holding this book, you feel that you're holding Mohanji's hand. You feel his energies. So do have it. But anyway, we will read the stories. Okay, so I will start with the first one, which is the preface. Read that. Okay. So the preface of Guru Leelas 7. This book's title also, as you see, it's called They Walked with Him. So They Walked with Him is a unique series of Guru Leela books where the readers will get to read the unfolding tapestry of Mohanji's work and his teachings. These are the first-hand accounts from those who have worked with Mohanji closely and long enough to observe and experience the multiple dimensions of Mohanji, his direct approach to life's intricacies that offer a transformative path. These are the stories of the profound journey of people who walked with Mohanji. For this year, 2024, we actually managed to get 24 such stories from 24 people who have worked with Mohanji in close quarters and served him directly. So we had to split this into 2 books due to the size of each story. And still, these stories are just a small percentage of what the authors have managed to witness. Working closely with Mohanji is not an easy task, as you are always under fire. Mohanji waits for none and moves at lightning speed like a flowing river, touching lives and spreading his warmth and love wherever he goes. To keep up with the pace at which Mohanji works is not a joke. However, to be in that frequency of a master like Mohanji is the opportunity of a lifetime. Gold has to burn in fire to come out as a shining precious metal. Diamond has to go under sharp cuts to be the shining crystal. And iron has to be under tremendous heat and pressure to come out as a strong and powerful tool. Every disciple goes through the same too. One has to have the sincere desire and penance to have the eligibility to be near a living master. We salute all these people for their grit and determination with the sole aim of walking towards their purpose with the guidance of Mohanji. What initially appeared as a distant aspiration to capture such stories swiftly gained momentum as individuals eagerly came forward to share their invaluable experiences through insightful interviews. Thus commenced our journey towards bringing They Walked with Him to fruition. Many of these individuals hold various significant positions within Mohanji Foundation, and we are indeed blessed to have been granted their precious time for interviews that spanned several hours, and adeptly encapsulated the essence in line with the book's theme. As always happens with every Guru Leela book, this time only Mohanji's grace made these two books possible. Hours of interviews followed by transcriptions and then editing. It wasn't a simple job for our team. However, the magic of the Mohanji global family was a true blessing. A diligent team of 12 transcribers from 5 different countries volunteered to convert these spoken narratives into coherent written form. And then a team of 12 editors from 6 different countries meticulously continued editing each story, thus highlighting the profound significance of serving a living master. Remarkably, this entire process was accomplished within a record time frame of 2 months, a testament to the collective dedication of the volunteers and empowerment bestowed upon us by Mohanji. Heartfelt commendations are due to our global team of transcribers and editors for their unwavering commitment and tireless efforts. First of all, we extend our deepest gratitude to the esteemed authors whose cooperation and contributions have been instrumental in realizing this dream. Each shared experience has touched our hearts and offered profound insights into the various dimensions of Mohanji, thereby enriching our own spiritual journey. We would like to thank the following volunteers who transcribed the stories included in this volume, Guru Leelas 7. Anu, Anusha, Arati, Bijal, Rahul from the UK, Chai from Malaysia, Satya from India, Tamara, Biliana, and Nada from Serbia. Thank you. Apart from our core editors of the testimonial team, we had to get help from few other editors also, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts. Eni from Croatia, Geeta from USA, Ranjana from India, Shene from the UK, and Linda and Sita from Netherlands. Thank you for the help in editing the stories included in the volume of Guru Leelas 6 and 7. Our special thank you to Swami Govinda and Jack Barrett for writing the forewords for Guru Leela Volume 7. We are grateful for sharing your stories in this book, serving as a beacon of inspiration and encouragement. As always, we owe our special thanks to our creative head, Hanumatananda, for his elegant and prompt assistance with the cover design, and to James for the layout and design of the book. Our heartfelt appreciation also goes to Sarathi Raghavan for his invaluable support in the printing process. None of this would have been possible without the benevolent blessings of Mohanji, our guiding light and pillar of strength, who has gently nurtured and encouraged us every step of the way. It's our humble offering to present this book to him as a token of our love and reverence on his birthday. With love, the testimonials team, Subhashri, Shama, and Rekha. So that was the background. I hope it gave you a brief of what this book is about. And as I mentioned, I think there are two nice forewords. I'm going today to read. The foreword is a story by Swami Govinda. Swami Govinda is a serving monk in the famous Skandavel ashram in the Wales, UK. The young Britisher joined his Guru Subramaniam, the founder of Skandavel, at the age of 21 and adopted the monastic life since then. Skandavel is, by the way, 51 years old now. Skandavel, the ashram. Swami Govinda, he is one of the revered monks in the community serving the ashram. In 2014, Swami Govinda met Mohanji in person for the first time during the Kailash pilgrimage with Mohanji, and later completed the Inner Kora Parikrama in 2016. He is one of those 6 people who have actually touched Kailash, the mountain. Swami Govinda shares a warm and very friendly bond with Mohanji. Some of us who have seen Swami Govinda with Mohanji, we feel that, the bonding of Krishna and Arjuna, if I may say so. So here is what Swami Govinda has written in this book. I was offered the opportunity to go on a pilgrimage to Mount Kailash, a dream of all dreams, a place I had obsessed about for almost 20 years, ever since I came across a picture of this perfectly domed mountain. It was the only place on our planet that I wanted to visit. Nowhere else held any gravity. I was to be the 9th member to join a small group from the UK, which in turn would link up with a much larger party composed of many nationalities, all meeting in Nepal. Vijay, through my fellow Swamis, broke this ecstatic news to me early in 2014 that the pilgrimage would embark later on in the summer. Early in the spring of that year, Vijay mentioned to me, rather hesitantly, that the trip would be led by a guru whom he had relatively recently come to know. If I am honest, my heart sank. I had grown up with Guru Sri Subramaniam since the age of 24. He left his body in 2007, and neither I nor any of the community at Skandavel had eyes for anyone else. Frankly, the last thing I wanted was to be tied to a group of people following their guru around this most sacred mountain. Little did I realize what was in store. I decided to check Mohanji out online. Guru had always taught us to evaluate, be discerning, and make up our own minds about people. Listening to Mohanji speak on those early YouTube videos, I was pleasantly surprised. Here was a man who spoke in a very down-to-earth and practical way, and with energy. All was not lost, I thought, though still apprehensive as to how it would all pan out. We all gathered in Kathmandu. Walking down the spacious corridors of our beautiful hotel, Vijay said, "Let us see if we can meet Mohanji." I was still really unsure about all this. We turned a corner, and right before us, a man in flowing white garments beamed towards me, flanked by 2 devotees left and right. He greeted me so warmly and with great affection, but in a moment he was gone, and I found myself totally overwhelmed. I quickly ducked into a phone booth to gather myself, and in a very English way, pulled myself together. The following day, the entire 100-strong group traveled to the city to visit Pashupatinath temple and Buddha Nilakantha. I climbed the 3 steps into our coach and found Mohanji sitting in the front seat, the space beside him empty. "Sit here," he said with an authority that I had come across before. In fact, The weight of his words and gestures was exactly that of Guru Subramaniam. I obeyed and sat down in place. I felt I had inhabited many times before. The most beautiful conversation unraveled as we traveled through those chaotic streets. I was sitting alongside someone who again knew me intimately, where I had been, where I was going, aware of the minute difficulty and joy in my being. I was sitting alongside Guru. I experienced the same pragmatic approach, no nonsense, straight to the point, and always delivered with a healthy dose of humor. I had so many questions, but well before the journey was over, I felt I no longer needed to use words and just sat in silent communion. How blessed I was to come into the vortex of another true Guru. Mohanji was acutely aware of every desire I had for this pilgrimage without me mentioning anything. I had kumkum, vibhuti, and chandan from our three temples to be placed in the yagam performed alongside Manasarovara. Sacred artifacts to be offered into the lake and up in the rare filled waters of Gaurikund. A veil from the Murugan temple, a trishul from the Shakti temple, and water from Sri Ranganatha temple, creating a concrete link between Kailash and Skandavel. Mohanji ensured every single detail was fulfilled. 2 years later, Mohanji was traveling again to Kailash, but this time the inner Kora. He said I should come. I actually felt greedy when, after all, I had been once, and perhaps someone else should go instead. But he was insistent. So in 2016, three Swamis from Skandavel set off. We traveled to Badrinath to acclimatize before journeying onto the roof of the world. The Swamis carried with us what we now refer as the Om stone. This stone was found on top of a very large boulder a few hundred meters from our center in Switzerland, the Somaskanda Ashram. It was on this rock that a great rishi attained moksha centuries ago. An Om was inscribed on this stone, and we then inlaid it with precious metal. This stone is now held above the Gopuram, and every full moon is part of Mahabhishekam. Mohanji made sure that this central part of our temple was blessed countless times by every great saint, every sacred water, and most importantly, Kailash. On the second day of our parikrama, we traveled to Charan Sparsh, the snout of the glacier that emanates from the north face of Kailash, where we bathed the Om stone in its glacial waters. Mohanji looked at us all and asked if we would like to go further. We agreed, thinking we would go a little way into the ice field. After 20 minutes, Mohanji sat down, quietly chanting, and he told us to go on. 9 people walked, and what happened was miraculous. Despite fatigue, we hiked 4 hours across this glacier, over precipitous streams, deep crevices, and right up to the face of Kailash itself. A chasm stretched right along this rock wall, dropping hundreds of meters, but a well-placed tiny snow bridge enabling all of us to place our heads, hands, and hearts tight up against this mighty mountain. The moment the Om stone was held against Kailash, ice crystals could be seen falling from the very top, down its vast face, sprinkling grace across our small stone and our temple to be high in the Swiss Alps. We returned in the dark late that evening, and on seeing Mohanji, he smiled, knowing what we had all achieved. He had literally paved the way, protecting us all from many dangers, enabling the rarest of the opportunities, and bringing the power of Kailash into ourselves and the core of Somaskanda Ashram. Those years were the start of my journey with Mohanji, and I have always had him in my thoughts ever since. He has been with not only me, but the whole of our community, always there for us, giving huge amount of time and energy, nurturing, teaching, guiding, and in the most beautiful, humble way, reinforcing and enriching what Guru Subramaniam taught us. After one of his visits, when Mohanji spent 3 solid days speaking to every single member of the community from morning to night, I went to thank him. He looked at me almost quizzically, saying, "As far as I am concerned, I haven't done anything. This is all the grace of Guru Subramaniam." 10 years on, the connection between Mohanji, the community, and his organization has become very close. He inspired us to install Lord Garuda in the Ranganath temple, personally guided the sculptor when the work was complete, installed and infused life into this beautiful murti. A year later, against all odds, he was with us for the inauguration of the Prana Pratishtha of Somaskanda Murti and returned 3 years later to celebrate the third year of its existence. In 2018, Lord Dattatreya was installed in Skandavel. Part of Mohanji really does live and resonate within that Murti. Many pilgrimages to Kailash, the Kumbh Mela, and other transformative places in the world have been facilitated and guided by him, ensuring completion and fulfillment by all. Countless satsangs, one-to-ones, and the introduction of Kriya Yoga have all enriched us on our journey to freedom and liberation. Just last year, a temple to Shirdi Sai was completed in Skandavel. Mohanji knew well of Shiridi's forthcoming arrival within our sacred grounds and had mentioned this casually some years before to Swami Suryananda. He was there to inspire and guide us and again came for the momentous Prana Pratishtha, infusing Shirdi with qualities of stability and stillness. An extraordinarily powerful temple now exists for all to drink from. Upon first meeting a great master, you could presume they came with that vast energy and vision and continued in the same way unchanged. They, like us, are clearly not static. I experienced Guru Subramaniam's power grow till you could hardly bear it. I now witness the same happening with Mohanji. Year after year, you meet a different being, his energy vastly expanding and growing. It's not easy walking with a guru and a true guru. It's not meant to be. In the early days, there is inevitable love affair. You are showered with affection, can do no wrong, and experience a quality of love like never before. Then the hard work starts. No longer are you in Guru's immediate presence. You absolutely can do nothing right, however hard you try. You are chastised in front of everyone, and somehow, the more you make an effort, the worse it gets. You try to apply some logic and rationale, desperately trying to understand what lies beneath being completely ostracized. And then slowly dawns on you there is no logic, no reason whatsoever other than Guru pushing you to change. Your evolution and transformation are being fast tracked. And although it feels like hell on earth, what's happening to you is the greatest grace. This ordeal eventually ends and a period of relative calm ensues, only to start all over again a few weeks or months later. Every time divinely calibrated for maximum impact to send you reeling, and yet from your depths, you have the awareness of being loved unconditionally. Many people slowly remove themselves when this kind of treatment starts. But those who hold fast and attempt to accept what is dealt with undoubtedly change and evolve. I obviously encountered this intense hand of Guru Subramaniam for many years, and of course, his deep love. I have yet to experience Mohanji's intense treatment personally. I expect there is plenty of time yet, though I have witnessed it countless times. However uncomfortable it is seeing someone having a hard time, again logically dis- disproportionate to their action, I have to laugh at the same Leela being delivered from another great master. Last summer, another opportunity arose to join Empowered 5 in Serbia, held in the newly established MPC, and then travel towards to MCB Scotland with Mohanji. 10 days steeped in silence gave so much. Mohanji gave so much as he always does. The process set me on a new trajectory and one that I continue to work with deeply. We arrived in the highlands in some strangely warm weather and prepared for the people to arrive. 2 days within this beautiful retreat in MCB Scotland were particularly significant. Krishna Jayanti was one, the first to be celebrated in the center. So it was a blank canvas. After discussing a plan and upon Mohanji's inspiration, we welcomed the day in singing Krishna bhajans in the recently inaugurated Shirdi Sai temple. 4 murtis of Krishna resided in the ashram. Mohanji carried Guruvayur Krishna on top of his head, followed by 3 others with different forms of Krishna. I walked in front, bell and conch in hand. 50 of us sang and chanted, starting at the house, past the temple and the barns, and into the surrounding MCB fields, right around the property, changing and elevating the land. Mohanji was walking in such an expanded state. We were actually all walking around the Scottish field with Krishna. 2 days later, a homa was to be performed. Everything was set up. Mohanji asked Jack and Chris, along with myself, to proceed, and he mentioned that he would sit in the background. Just as we were about to start, he sat directly opposite me and asked me to chant to Ganesha mantra. He gestured for me to do something. I was slow and didn't get it, at which point he gently threw a long copper spoon over the homa. As it spun through the air, amazingly, I caught it. I was to offer ghee. For the next hour, I offered ghee into this fiercely intense fire with Mohanji. I felt like we had gone back centuries, time immemorial, and an ancient ceremony was being performed. Through these deeply energetic flames, I was looking at great Rishi. In fact, through this immense heat and Shakti, I was actually sitting opposite Lord Shiva himself as he presided over this epic and primordial homa. With great love and immense gratitude, I look forward to walking further with Mohanji. I hope you do too. So that was the story from Swami Govinda. I had to control a few times my tears. And apart from the Kailash part, everything else that he's written, I have been there with Mohanji every time that he went to Skandavel with Swami Govinda, and this experience in MCB that he narrated, Krishna Jayanti and that Homa. And in fact, I would like to just say that when he mentioned about the first 3 days when Mohanji went to Skandavel and spent from morning to night with each of the community members, each of the Swamis, I was actually there. I have written in my story also about that. Those 3-4 days, it was first time I was assisting Mohanji closely, and I was seeing what Mohanji was doing in so many aspects from morning to night. And that is when I realized that there is no existence, there is no physical existence when you are all one with the oneness of the divinity, with the supreme consciousness. That was for me it was definitely eye-opening, and that's also the time when I first saw the closeness with between Mohanji and Swami Govinda. In fact, the last day when everybody we were leaving, I was actually clicking photos of everyone in my mobile. And I took a beautiful photo of Swami Govinda and Mohanji together, where Swami Govinda laid his head on Mohanji's chest and closed his eyes. And that I captured it in my camera in my mobile, but I'm sure it didn't actually do the justification, because the bonding, the love, the affection between both of them, like as I said, I felt here is Krishna and here is Arjuna. That is how they feel beyond that he's a Swami and he has his guru, and it's nothing is bound by this our roles and positions and jobs and whatever. The love is so pure, and the connection is really immortal. That's what I feel when I see Swami Govinda with Mohanji, and so beautifully that he's written. None of this is imagination. None of this is just to praise Mohanji. Everything is come from his heart. So I deeply connect to what he's written, and I'm so grateful that we get to read such things. Where else will you experience this? With that, I will stop. Now, maybe any of you want to share what you felt, or anything you want to, share too about this story or what we read today. You're most welcome to unmute and speak. How did you feel? You can unmute. Who wants to speak? I know you all have become speechless. Michael.
Yeah, it's a bit awesome, isn't it? Because it's so beyond going down to Tesco's to buy a tin of beans and some bread for your tea or something. It's it's a completely different level. I do know Swami Govinda, because I've been visiting Scandavale since 2007, and that was a story in itself. He is amazing. I mean, he's not called Govinda for nothing by Guru Subramaniam. I feel so. I think, and to be honest, that's the side of Swami Govinda I never appreciated before. The way he's actually written that, because you don't often get a chance to actually sit down and chat to the Swami. So hearing Swami Govinda narrate basically his experience in that manner is truly amazing, and you get a feeling of the energy of it as you were reading it out, Subhashri, that you get a feeling of that sort of energy. And then you also get a feeling of, oh God, I wish I could experience that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do, don't you? I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not sitting here like a stone saying, oh, yeah. Oh, I'm thinking, yeah, yes, please. Yeah, and me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks. Who else would like to say something? How did you feel? Anyone? Alva, how did you feel?
Well, it's been incredible. I'm really grateful, for you guys sharing these experiences you have with Mohanji. It shows, how connected we are, so that it's not just one incarnated being, whose body will disappear, I don't know, in 50 years. And it's something immortal. And I'm really grateful that you are showing it and sharing it with us. Thank you.
Thank you. How did you feel about Swami Govinda's story?
Beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you. Arushi, since I see you.
Hi, I'm so happy you shared this today. I was so excited when I saw the notification. And I think the story is so beautiful. In the youth club also, during Mohanji's satsangs when we were attending in Scotland, we used to have these MYC discussions. And basically, all our discussions used to be our experiences with Mohanji. And it used to be so amazing. Like, we used to enjoy so much. And I was kind of getting the same kind of enjoyment here. And I loved it. I'm so excited for next Sunday. I hope it can come sooner. So thank you so much for this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Arashi. Yeah, I mean, story time anyway is a great way to teach our children, our youth is anyway, right? So we can't just tell them miracles happen, but how it happens, this is what comes from these testaments. Okay, I see now Tejas on the video. Tejas, would you like to speak?
You got me.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for this testimonial sharing session. In fact, I did not know that such a session happens every Sunday.
No, it's
I
starting
was just
today. It started today.
starting today. Wow.
Yeah, today is the first
I was
day.
just making tea and saw that notification and jumped in. So I'm just very grateful for this session. Thank you so much. And Subhashri, I'm currently reading Guru Leela book number 3, and I was also going through a lot of videos that you have done on Mohanji and I, and the experiences you had at different times, of course, really made a deep impact on me. And those were so beautiful, like the time when you went with Mohanji at the Mokambika temple, when he was in his isolation time, and so on. Those were really, really revealing about how Mohanji operates at different levels. Thank you so much for doing this session, and looking forward for more every Sunday.
How did you feel about Swami Govinda's story today? What we read?
It was lovely. Rather than verbalizing, I would say that as you were narrating it, earlier there was a noise in the mind, but then as you kept narrating, suddenly it just all disappeared, and there was some stillness for 5 to 10 minutes where I just kept listening to your voice with eyes closed. So
Oh,
that was the experience I had today.
amazing. Thank you, Tejas. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Who else? Come on, guys. Shital, my favorite. Are you there?
Yes, yes, Jai Mohanji. I'm just traveling, so I couldn't put on my video.
That's
So,
okay. You can say.
no, first of all, when Rekha ji said, that you will find something similar in stories which are like that. And with Govind ji, when he said, I know that I have been a disciple of Gajanan Maharaj. And then Mohanji also came very suddenly into my life. And I was thinking, maybe I don't want a guru now. I already have one saint in my life. But this being with him, is just, and I'm thinking, why did it take so long to meet him? I mean, it like, as you correctly said, when you were reading Shubhashri, I was just feeling like crying. Tears were coming in my eyes. It is very, very touching. And Mohanji and I exactly understand, because now I feel Mohanji is pushing me into situations which I really don't want. But he's there every step of the way, so I'm very grateful. I'm so happy that you started this series. Like, I mean, it is just like reading Guru Charitra or any other, Maharaj's Charitra, Sai Charitra. This is Charitra only. Reading it just feels very, very nice, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Shital. Wonderful. No, actually, I mean, Rekha ji, I would ask her to share experience from, what we feel when we were working on these books, the processing, the editing, the getting it ready, what it makes us. I'd like Rekha ji to share maybe.
I think after doing 7 books, Subhashri, we have kind of taken it for granted that it will happen somehow. Invariably, we plan each year. We say, okay, we have to start well in advance. We have got to plan it this way. We have to plan it that way. And everything, all in the mind. All in the mind, the team has discussed. And then it so happens that something or the other comes up. And February is just around the corner. And we like to always release Guru Leela in February during Mohanji's birthday. So it used to be a hilarious thing. And we would say, okay, we've got to start this. And then going through getting testimonials from people. And, the whole process, invariably, 1 to 2 months is all the time we have taken to do this. And we don't know how it happened, because other than besides Mohanji's grace, it's just not possible. And in this particular Guru Leela book 6 and 7, It was a huge task because we were talking to all the people who have walked with Mohanji very closely, and they're still walking with Mohanji. So you know the kind of work that they are involved in, getting their time. And Subhashri, bless her really, she sat and interviewed each and everybody for 2 to 3 hours because some of them we even knew a little bit of their experiences and backgrounds. So bringing it all together. So, and then transcribing. We had pages, you know, each person's, it was a book by itself. And after that, to edit, to go through it and talk to them again for some clarification. Because when you speak and then write it again, it's very different, isn't it? I'm sure most of you know that as we speak, you know, our sentences are all over the place, and the way we speak, that sometimes they are half sentences. So bringing them all together. And so, you know, it's this, I don't think the books, especially Guru Leela 6 and 7, would have happened without Mohanji's blessings and grace, and bringing in beautiful transcribers and editors. We worked, you know, round the clock, and it just happened within 2 months. The book was ready. So Vishri
But
would sit 3 to 4 hours every day with one of the authors.
yeah, and also, but the thing is that, like when we were doing it, it's such a joy. Actually, time passes, we don't know how it passes, but it's such a joy to discuss. I'll just say something very, very simple and silly, but one of our editors is Shene. She was editing a few stories, and she lives in London. And she found it little difficult to go through the transcriptions and even understand some of the stories. So she would tell me, Subha auntie, I'm not able to understand what to do and all that. So I used to call, I said, you come home. And then when she's here, sometimes I would be cooking, sometimes I would be doing something, and I would narrate the whole story to her. And she would ask me question, but what does it actually mean? But what are this, what is this about? She would ask me, actually, it was like a second interview almost. And then I would narrate to her, tell her the whole essence, and then say, oh, I see, now I understand. Oh, I see. These young people, Arushi will understand all these things. So Shene is a young person as well. So so to take her through, but the thing is, every time we talk about a story, when we are transcribing or editing, it's actually reliving that story. So for me, when I was doing the interview, I talked to, for example, with Priti Duggal. We started at 11 p.m. her time, and we sat for 3.5 hours. And the next morning, poor Priti Didi had to travel somewhere. She sat with me for 3.5 hours in middle of the night. But so when I was listening, it's almost like I'm there. And then when I was explaining to Shene or going through it again, it's like I'm reliving it again. So all this is being with Mohanji, right? So he's not physically with us, but he was physically with me. So every time this whole process of going through the thing, when we discuss, when Rekha ji, Shama and I discuss about stories, it's all almost like reliving. This editing is not a ordinary like literature editing. It's about feeling it to the core of our being, and that is what gives us the energy. Then we go out and do all other jobs. But testimonial is our source of the energy that feeds us. And it's such joy, such contentment that gives us. I think that's why I said it plays a big part in our spiritual journey, definitely.
And it just
Okay.
kept inspiring us more and more, you know. When we started with the book one, we had no idea. We just plunged in, we started. And, you know, 7 years, 6 years, books, seven is out already. And we are
Yeah.
already, in the process of the next book. Just a
Next
little thing.
books. Yeah, next
Books.
books.
Yeah, the next books. So, you know, and each time we read it, like Subhashri said, it's so beautiful because we would relive, we would be able to connect, and that would inspire us to, you know, write further and reach out to more people. And it's it's a it's a lovely journey. I mean, reading testimonials, being inspired by it, it's beautiful.
Amazing. Okay. It's nearly 1 hour. I think I will let you all go for your Sunday time. But is there anything anyone else want to speak? I do see Malati ji in the video. Did you want to say something? You can unmute.
Just
Oh, sorry. You got muted again.
I'm very much excited to meet you and hear about Mohanji's Leela from you. Actually, I don't know. I am super excited.
Wonderful. Yes, I'm sure every week we will read one story and it'll be amazing. So thank you so much for being there. Thank you for sharing Mohanji's love, and let's stay connected and grow together. Thank you. Lots of love to all of you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thanks, Subhashri.
Thank you,
See you next
Subhashri.
week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jai
Thank
Mohanji.
you. Bye.
Jai
Jai
Mohanji.
Jai
Mohan.
Mohanji.